What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, and today we are going to take an outsider's perspective on the Indianapolis Colts offseason and projections, basically, how strong of a team is the Indianapolis Colts compared to the rest of the AFC. Today, I bring with me guys from Dear Pats Nation, right? I have Rauth, a.k.a. Shades, right here in the middle, and Boston Boomer Conor Carney, over there on the far right. Thanks for joining the stream, guys. Appreciate you being here, Ray.
Connor has way too many names, man.
I know. I got a lot going on there.
It's just you confuse me.
A lot of personas.
I didn't tell this to Connor, and he's on air, so I know his phone's not near him. He's not like me, who's attached to his phone 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I don't have it.
This is Lawrence language on his channel, not our language on this channel. So
good to know.
Keep the curses to a minimum. But I'm happy to be here. Lawrence, you're on our channel every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Patriots Outsider, where we come pick your brain about the Patriots, and you do our film rooms for us on Fridays. And we're not going to tell anybody now what that film room is, because now I got people jonesing to find out. But I'm excited to be here, and usually it's just you and I, so I'm really excited that it's the three of us on here today, and you guys can absolutely see just how annoying it is to have a partner like Connor Commentary as your broadcast partner.
You guys can find out.
You can if you're interested in following Ray or Connor, I have links in the description below the video, both to their Twitters and of course to Dear Pats Nation. Just go check them out. They're not a group that hates on the Colts.
No.
No, we hate them, but we don't hate on them.
Yeah, you don't hate on them. I mean, you're Patriots, right? Yes, JDW, they are Patriots guys. That's why I wanted to get an outsider's opinion. And what better outsider opinion of this current Colts than Patriots guys, right? I mean, come on. The only way I could do a better outsider would be like to go get a Titans group or something, Hey, before I get started though, I want to thank everybody here that's in the chat. Appreciate you so much. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell, make sure all notifications are turned on. And plus, don't forget, in the description, there is a link to my Patreon. It's only $5 a month for all of my stuff. Plus, there's a super chat link that you could use where, I get twice as much money out of it than if you use the YouTube super chat. It still pops up here. But if you donate $10, I'm getting 9 of that, not 4 of that. Okay. And then, of course...
Hold on, and Connor, before you start asking me about it, I'm looking into it, okay? So just
Good to know.
And then there's the merch shop. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high-quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from.
Look at that.
All you got to do is just click one button.
Nice.
I had to rock. I rocked the Colts Law merch. I probably should have put it on tonight, but it's too hot to put a hoodie on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Good
See,
stuff.
I got the same hoodie on right now, only it's blue, and you got the pure white one. That is freaking awesome.
Love it. Love it. And honestly, I've told this to Lawrence. I know a lot of our subscribers come over here as well. Better quality than our sweatshirts. They really,
nice.
Which irritates me, but they are. It's and reasonable pricing. It's great. I love it. Great merch. Go get it. Go get your merch for Lawrence.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I've had some people in my chat in previous streams talk about how it's Father's Day coming up, and man, that'd be a great, you got a Colts fan that's a father. That'd be I hate to sell my own stuff like that, but yeah.
No, but you don't even have to be a Colts fan,
right.
man. I'm not a Colts fan. I rock the Lawrence gear.
Yeah.
You got to be a fan. If you're a fan of Lawrence, it's like Lawrence rocks the Dear Pats Nation gear because he's a fan of us. You got to rock the stuff of the support. Listen, guys like us, man, we're trying to take down big media, right? We're trying to compete with ESPN. We can't. This is how we compete. Support the little guys. Support small business. Go get your merch from Lawrence over at his shop.
Appreciate that. Now, I want to shout out all of my patrons from Patreon. I got it listed right here on the right side of the screen right now. Once I have 15 patrons on Patreon, I'll start doing live streams for Patreon only every other week.
Nice.
Kind of similar to what Ray and Kyle kind of following in their footsteps.
Offset our days though, right?
Because, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because you come on ours, so if you're doing yours, you can't.
Awesome. Okay. So let's get to the actual show, shall we? Now, a lot of stuff's happened all over the NFL during this offseason, not just the draft, but, people lost players and coaches and stuff during the offseason. They picked up new guys in free agency. And I don't know if you guys have done a hardcore look at the roster and the turnover that they've had, but yeah, it's pretty freaking solid. Hey, I want to thank Colts Loyalist, who just donated $5. He says, let's make Law do more work. Join us on Patreon.
Make him work. Come on. Make him work.
All right.
Yeah, but when I look at this year off season, you know what? I mean, look, compared to our off season that was just spending $1 billion, I think we had a little bit more excitement. But you brought in Carson Wentz, who, look, you and I look differently on Carson Wentz. I think I don't look down on Carson Wentz, but I think that you're already assuming things higher than I am. I think that the Patriots and the Colts are in similar positions going into this season, that a lot of where they end up is going to be really dependent on how their quarterbacks perform. Obviously, with us and Cam Newton, because he's going to be the starter this year, and you and Carson Wentz. Where the difference is we have Mac Jones behind him that's supposed to be the future. But when we're focusing on 2021, I'm not ready to say Carson Wentz is going to be a bust by any means. And Connor and I have talked about it. And I think that being with Frank Reich in a system that he understands and familiarity. And I saw a tweet today, and I'm gonna pull it up, Lawrence, if I can, just to read it, because I saw it, knew we were coming on this show, and decided to bookmark it. But it was about Carson Wentz, and it made a lot of sense. And it said, it's right here. Sorry,
you're fine.
Yeah. Oh, nope. That it was. Oh God. Never mind. Anyways, what it was referring. Okay, it was from Chris Sims. Take it for what it is. I know some people might start rolling their eyes, but he said, as bad as Carson Wentz was last year, he was legit a top 10 quarterback the 3 previous years. And obviously Frank Reich believes in him. I'll be more surprised if he doesn't work with the Colts than if he does. And I agree. I think I'd be more surprised if he doesn't work with the Colts than if he doesn't work. I'd be more surprised if he doesn't work with the Colts than if he does. I just think, are we going to see MVP caliber Carson Wentz, which is what we saw prior to his injury in 2017? Are we going to see 2018 Carson Wentz, which was the return where he looked really good, but not quite? Are we going to see the 2019 where he was probably 10, not a top 8? Or are we going to see the 2020, which was an absolute disaster? How shook is this kid's confidence? And we could say he's saying this and doing that, but as you know more than us, it's whatever happens on the field is where we'll see where he's at. And I do want to talk about a couple of your other moves, but maybe I'll pass it to Connor if you want something to say about Carson Wentz.
Yeah, obviously Carson Wentz is going to be the biggest factor for the Colts this season. I think they're going to fluctuate quite a bit depending on how well he plays. But it's funny because the Colts, I think, are going to play a very similar game to the Patriots. I think they're going to be a run-first team. I think they're going to play very stout defense. Obviously, they went very defense-heavy in the draft. I think their first 2 picks were defensive linemen, right? I know the first one was. They also went out, they re-signed Marlon Mack. They have Jonathan Taylor coming back, who looks like he's going to be an absolute stud. So I would expect the Colts to run the football and play very tough defense. And obviously, the quarterback position is super important. It's the same thing with the Patriots. It's going to kind of fall on Cam Newton. But I think both teams are going to be defense and running first. So obviously Carson Wentz is going to be huge down the line, but I think even if he somewhat struggles, the Colts are still going to be decent just based on how well the defense is going to play and how good the running position is going to be.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm not in that situation. Am I expecting 2017 Carson Wentz? No, but I'm not expecting 2020 either because,
right.
This year the Colts, the team all the way around him is so much better than what the Eagles had around him, offensive line-wise, weapons-wise, defense-wise, coaching-wise. just better all the way around. So, yes, I think if Carson Wentz struggles, I still think the Colts have a decent team there well enough to win games,
Right.
And they can lean away from Wentz if he is struggling at that point. But I don't think he's going to struggle too much.
The only risk factor I see in Carson Wentz for the Colts, again, I think you got him relatively cheap compared to what you see some of the other quarterbacks who are shifting around went for. Again, though, I think where there's a risk factor in him, say where it's not comparable to the Patriots, if Cam Newton doesn't work this season, we at least have hope in Mac Jones next season. Like, we know that if Cam doesn't work in 2021, Cam's not the future. Like, we know Cam Newton's not the future. Whereas if Carson Wentz doesn't work, I know you have it's not Jacob Eason. It's
Eason. He used to play for the Patriots, didn't he?
No, Jacob Eason's the backup quarterback.
Yeah. Sorry, Jacob Eason. You guys drafted Jacob Eason last year.
Yeah,
but he's a project. He's probably. I mean, as much as I liked the kid, when I was doing my draft profiles, looking at because the Patriots needed a quarterback last year, I had Jacob Eason as a career backup. You know what I mean? Maybe a Jacoby Brissett type of career, not play style, but career. You know what I mean? Where he can come in and start, but. So that's the only risk factor I see. But no, I agree with Connor that I think that, you're going to run. I was very envious of the Colts tight ends last season. I love your tight end squad. I've been trying to get Jack Doyle off of you for years or, for months, that. When I looked at some of those moves that you guys made in this offseason, it's the one that kind of stuck out to me. Number one, getting Kwitty Paye, I thought was a fantastic draft pick, right? Yeah. I thought, as a defensive tackle, especially since you already have a stacked defensive line. Adding him was great. But re-signing Mo Cox, right, I thought was because you guys re-signed him this year, right? I thought
he was tendered and then he signed.
Yeah. So I thought that was a big move, keeping that tight end core together and being able to go. But your biggest move, it's funny because I remember you and I were having a discussion. I think you popped on to one of our shows. Draft was crazy. We were bouncing back and forth between channels and live streams and this and that. And you bounced onto one of our streams. And I remember you saying, like, at that point, a lot of Colts fans were giving the Colts draft an F. And I wonder, and what I've wondered is if Eric Fisher would have been signed before the draft, how the Colts fans would have graded the draft. You got one of the best defensive tackles or one of the best edge rushers in the game or in the draft and Paye. And I just looked at it and thought, when you guys signed Fisher, I kind of rolled my eyes because I was like, son of a gun, like you guys got what you needed. You needed that offensive tackle and you got him. And I thought that was a huge move. And I thought that went kind of under the radar to a lot of people because people are really focused on the Kansas City Chiefs and their offensive line and that kind of thing. Whereas I don't think people understand how big that signing was for the Colts, bringing Fisher in.
Yeah, the Eric Fisher signing was huge. Now, a lot of people are, thinking, well, they got rid of Fisher, the Chiefs did, in order to upgrade. Really, it was more of the fact that he wasn't probably not going to be ready week one. And the fact that they saved money by cutting him and moving and going and getting somebody else. They wanted that solid offensive line to start the season right away for Patrick Mahomes because he's dealing with injury as well, right? So, really, Eric Fisher, he's a Pro Bowler, right? He's made the Pro Bowl 2 out of the last 3 seasons. And so, yeah, he's still a top-notch guy if he comes back from this AC or the Achilles injury, which he had like the best Achilles surgeon in the world who made a new technique in order to apparently it reduces the recovery time and less chance of it having complications. So,
nice.
They're talking anywhere between July and October is when he'll be back. So, he could legitimately be back week one. I'm not holding him to it, but, it's possible. So, you're right on the whole aspect. In my thought, if Eric Fisher was signed the day before the draft, people would have looked at it differently. And I think that was the idea the Colts had in the first place. I think they had Fisher on the sidelines in case the draft didn't fall to a left tackle for them. that they knew, you know what, we can still go BPA, throughout this draft, get the best players that we can. If a left tackle doesn't drop, we go get Eric Fisher.
Well, and the Patriots did that with Brian Hoyer, right? They just they thought if we can't get Mac Jones or Justin Fields or one of them, at least we would know we'll keep Hoyer on the back burner. So I get it. We did the exact same thing.
But you just re-signed Hoyer too. I mean, this isn't a Patriots thing, but you just re-signed him.
Well, yeah, it's not a Patriots thing, but it's a Colts thing too. I mean, you guys had the pleasure of watching him start for a few games. We had the pleasure of watching him start against Kansas City. I think we all live in the nightmare of Brian Hoyer, the destroyer quarterback. It's funny because going into that, just a little insight, and Colts fans will probably find this funny because you dealt with it when Brissett got hurt. When Cam was out and we found out that Brian Hoyer was going to be the starter, Connor and I were previewing that game against the Chiefs. And we were like, you know what? He's not going to be spectacular. We know that, but he's solid. He's smart. He's just going to game manage the game. And then everything that happened was just stupidity. It was just absolute mind melts from him, like not knowing how many timeouts he had left and fumbling the ball. I mean, the Patriots were in scoring position twice on the 10-yard line, and he ran out of timeouts the first time and to end the half, and the Patriots would have been in the lead. And I don't care. I know it's the Chiefs, but when you have a lead, that changes the dynamic of the game. That changes how the other team plays. Teams get a little tighter. But you guys experienced it, so we'll bring that up because I know there's Colts fans on here right now that are just but I just don't know why they're bothering putting him in shoulder pads. Like, why don't they just make him the quarterback coach already and just leave it at that? Because I think he's going to be Brian Hoyer might one day, mark my words, is going to be one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Because he's one of the best scout quarterbacks in the NFL. That's where Brian Hoyer is a strength. He's a great scout quarterback. There's been rumors that he's there because he can mimic Tom Brady, and he's there for week 4 and week 4 only to practice against Tom Brady. But we all know why he's there. Mac Jones isn't going to learn how to play quarterback from Cam Newton. He's going to learn how to be a leader. He's going to learn, the fundamentals of that kind of the game. But when it comes to play styles, it matches up with Brian Hoyer a lot more decent than I think. I think he's going to get cut before the season starts, and I think he's going to sign as a coach. That's my prediction now.
Well, I predicted that before. I was like, why would you sign Hoyer to a contract if all you need him for is his mind? You sign him as, an assistant of some sort rather than a player. Yeah. So
because I don't think a coach can put pads on according to rules. So I think for spring – and when they're in camp, they're going to put the pads on him so he can go out. I don't think he's going to be taking reps. I think he's going to be in pads beside Mac, maybe taking a few reps. Watch me, kid. You know what I mean? And then let Mac Jones. But I think he's there to develop Jones, which I think when Brian Hoyer got signed, it's funny. I knew that was it for Cam Newton after this season. I'm like, that confirmed it. They are really pushing to get Mac Jones ready for 2022.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, we're here to talk about the Colts, not the Patriots.
Right? That's cool. I started it. But anyhow, so a few things that they did do is they re-signed a lot of their other players. I mean, they let some of their older guys go that they wanted to get younger at, like the pass rush defensive ends. They let both Autry and Houston go, which were semi-productive last year, but both of them over the age of 30. They went and got Paye with their first pick. They got Dio, who's suffering an Achilles the exact same day. He suffered his Achilles injury the exact same day Eric Fisher did. How weird is that, right? So he's not expected till probably mid-season because he didn't have the same surgeon Eric Fisher had. Go surprised that a star NFL player got a better surgeon than a college player did. Right. But it was, a lot of people said that Dio Odangbo had first-round talent before he got the injury. And since the Colts are, they need pass rushers and hoping that they won't have a first-round pick next year, I think selecting Dio was a good move. You're getting yourself a first-round talent pass rusher that you could basically redshirt, early. So to me, that's not a bad idea. But they were able to re-sign like their cornerbacks, TJ Carey, Xavier Rhodes, who came to the Indianapolis last year and performed incredibly well. Really the only three guys they really lost that were key players was, like I said, Houston, Autry, and then of course Anthony Walker, who, honestly, the Colts linebacking core was already deep. He wanted to make sure he got more snaps. He ended up going to Cleveland instead. So some of these off-season moves, what do you guys think about being able to re-sign a lot of your players but still get younger in positions of importance?
I mean, that's one of the most important things is bringing back key players. Like you said, obviously they let like guys like Houston go. They were over the age of 30. Once you get over the age of 30 in the NFL, it's kind of you're on the back nine at that point. They went out there and they were very aggressive in the draft. They went very heavy on defense. First 2 draft picks, defensive line. I mean, it's also important to bring back people who you like, obviously, who are already accustomed to the team but still get younger. I mean, I think the Colts are going to be pretty stout on defense. They were very good last year, obviously, and I don't see them, letting those 3 guys go, taking a huge step backwards because of it.
Yeah, I think that when you can keep some of your veterans, it's important, and when you get younger in other areas, it's important as well. And I know that's, such a cop-out answer, but it's true. And don't forget, you're talking about a fan base where we've become very accustomed to our general manager / coach moving on from a guy a year too early rather than a year too late. Guys are still leaving in their prime because Belichick's like, no, it's time to let you walk away, take our comp pick, and, because in 2 years you're going to be out, and I'm not paying you the big money that other teams are going to pay you, a.k.a. Nate Solder over in New York. And so I like those kind of moves, and then at the same time, bringing back a guy like T.Y. Hilton, even though he's he's past his prime. He was even a guy that I didn't even have flagged for the Patriots who needed obvious receiver help, and was no knock on T.Y. But when you looked at all the other, receivers available, I was like, I'd rather Kendrick Bourne, who's a little bit younger and is going to be more of a long-term solution. That being said, new quarterback, even though it's entering a system he knows, new quarterback, new teammates, having a veteran like T.Y. on the field is going to be super, super important. You guys have an absolute stud in Paris Campbell if you guys stop hurting him and keep him healthy. Just because he's an absolute stud. And I think that the fact that you're also protecting your offense with your run game is going to be important. And then there's positions I drool over. I drool over DeForest Buckner. You know that. Like, it makes me sick that he wears a Colts jersey. I feel that way. And that's no disrespect to your fan base. I'm a Patriots fan. You know what I mean? And it makes me sick that we got to go up against that guy this year. And I'm looking forward to that Patriots-Colts battle, because I think you're going to have 2 great defenses going at it, 2 great offensive lines.
Yep.
By the end of this year, both the Patriots and the Colts are going to be top 5 in O-line. I'm telling you right now. They're going to be 2 top 5 O-lines. And one will probably lead in one category and one will probably lead in the other. And I can't wait for that battle, because if you like dirty football, I think the Colts and Patriots is going to be a good dirty football game.
Connor?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be a lot of running. I mean, obviously, they went out and got Marlon Mack again, who I think is still very good, even though the fact that Jonathan Taylor had a spectacular second half of last season. He looks like he's going to be phenomenal. Offensive line's obviously going to be very good, especially by the time Fisher's back. I think they're going to run the ball down teams' throats and play very good defense. I also think people like Michael Pittman are going to take a big step forward, too. He was actually very sneakily good last season. I feel like a lot of people didn't pay that much attention to him, but I think he's also going to take a step forward. I mean, they have a lot of good young talent, man.
No, they do. The Colts are a great team, and they're a great team.
Carson Wentz is going to have the opportunity to really catapult them even forward, because even if he's only a top 10, top 15 type guy, I still think the Colts are going to borderline a playoff team. If he ends up being more like a top 5, top 7 guy, I think they're going to walk away with the division.
Do you think, my question is, do you think it was worth the chance to get Carson Wentz in Indy with Frank Reich, with the fact that he's a much more mobile quarterback than what Phillip Rivers was last year, and has a stronger arm than Rivers does, even though there is question marks in other areas? Do you think, how smart of a move do you think this was by Frank Reich and Chris Ballard to bring him in, rather than, say, Matt Stafford or Darnold?
In my opinion, I personally like it. I like to see them swing for the fences because I think he has massive upside potential. If he goes back to his form of how he was back in, 16, 17 before he got injured, obviously he has the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I like the opportunity to have them go out and go for it. That's the way that I look at it. They're more playing to win with him than they are playing not to lose. I mean, Phillip Rivers was solid, but obviously you're going to end up borderline, wild card weekend with that type of a quarterback. I think they're swinging for the fences with Carson Wentz. It's almost like they're trying to go Super Bowl or stay where they already are.
Yeah, I feel I'm not necessarily going to call it the smart move. I'm going to call it the move they had to make. That's what I'm going to call it. See, the Colts are and I'm comparing it to the Patriots because I think it's the easiest comparison, because you and I talk about that comparison all the time. Will our quarterbacks perform? And this is going to be the big thing. But the difference is the Patriots are a 7-9 team. You guys were a playoff team. You guys were, a couple of bad calls away from going to the divisional round in the playoffs. You brought what I thought was the best team in the AFC. Yes, the best team in the AFC. You guys brought them to the brink of eliminating them and going to the divisional round. You had to bring in a quarterback that was going to be effective, and you didn't give up. The Rams basically outbid everybody, right? They laid out an offer. If you're Detroit, you're getting 2 first-round picks, but you're also getting Jared Goff. You're also getting. Here's the thing, though: if he turns it around and it changes scenery, suddenly you have your quarterback and 2 first-round picks. Yes, you're paying him $1 trillion, but you were paying Matthew Stafford a lot of money. So you're in no different of a position than you were, except now you have more draft picks in a new regime. Whereas with the Colts, first of all, I don't know what your salary situation looked like. I know you walked into this season or offseason with a lot of money, but you had to re-sign a lot of your own players. So I know that ate up a lot of it. And I think that once Goff was off the table, I think you had to go with Carson Wentz. And I on our channel, Connor and I just basically conceded Carson Wentz to the Colts and just said that's what's going to happen, because Sam Darnold didn't make sense. If you're going to take a flyer with somebody who you're a playoff team, right? And you're built to be a playoff team. If Carson Wentz plays half decent with the roster you have, you're the best team in the South, hands down. And I'm not here kissing your guys' ass. Lawrence knows me. I'm not going to say it if I don't believe it. You guys are the best team in the South. And I mean, you couldn't the Texans are in shambles, right? The Titans, I don't think everybody's really considering how many pieces the Titans lost on offense. I know you got King Henry, but you lost your top tight end and you lost one of your top receivers on that team. It's going to be a different looking offense this year, and King Henry's not going to be as protected as he was, or Tannehill's not going to be as protected as he is by Henry by that throwing game. So you're the best team in the South. You had to take a shot. You weren't going to draft a quarterback. You knew that. You weren't going to trade up and try to get somebody who's not ready. You had to compete this year. You gave up your first-round pick last year to get DeForest Buckner, which was supposed to be the piece to bring you to that next level, which it did defensively. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to take a shot on the guy that Reich had astronomical success with, instead of taking a shot on a Sam Darnold, who I still think in the right situation can be a good quarterback in the NFL. But do you want to throw him into a playoff situation, or do you put him in Carolina where they're kind of in purgatory and he can kind of just, play with Christian McCaffrey and try to learn to be a quarterback again?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So you kind of alluded to it. Why don't I get both your guys' thoughts before I do this about the AFC South and where each team ranks in the AFC South? Before I get to that, please, guys, don't forget. Can't do this without you. Please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell. I'd really, really appreciate it. There's also a share button right beneath Boston Boomer where you can share this stream to your favorite social media, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or even, a blog that you're part of. I don't care. You guys are the ones that make me bigger, get my stuff out more. I can only get it out. I can only make it. You guys are the ones that make it good and bring it out to other people. So thank you so much. All right, Ray, where do you have the AFC South? Where do you got these 4 teams in the AFC South ranked right now?
Oh, it's simple. It's Colts, Titans. Sorry, the top two are simple.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Jacksonville, Houston.
Yeah.
Even if Deshaun Watson plays week 1 for Houston, it is a mess there right now. And it's Jacksonville, Houston. Houston's going to come dead last this year.
Connor?
I actually have it the same reasons. I think that this division has the potential to be very, very good very soon. Houston obviously has Deshaun Watson, so if they ever figure it out, that's going to be a scary team to play in the future. Jacksonville made a bunch of aggressive moves this offseason. They have a new coach. They drafted Trevor Lawrence. I think they're going to be very good in the next couple of years. It's just not going to happen this season, though. This year, it's clearly a two-way race between the Colts and the Titans. I think the Colts are going to be number 1. Titans are going to be number 2. And then from there, yeah, a couple of years from now, it's going to be a totally different story. But right now, it's just two teams.
It's not even a race. The Titans are not. The Titans already declined last year. And if any of you guys watched Lawrence and I when we were on Sportscaster, I talked about it a lot. The Titans were a Cinderella team 2 years ago. They overperformed what they were. They looked a little bit, they declined last year. Yeah, they had the COVID problems and they kept practicing, whatever. The pieces they lost, they didn't replace. I don't care what anybody says. They didn't replace the pieces they lost. It's not even a race. This is if the Colts aren't in first, it's your fault. Like not Lawrence's fault, but it's the Colts' fault. They're not in first. Not that anybody else outperformed them.
All right. So we got that. Who do you guys having tops on the AFC East?
Tops in the AFC East. For me, it's right now it's Buffalo number 1. I mean, they're the best team in the division right now. I've actually popped Miami above us, the Patriots as well. I got the Patriots in 3rd, and I got the Jets in 4th. Now Connor's going to tell you why I'm wrong, and he's going to give you his delusional take on why the Patriots are so good in the East.
Yeah, I mean, I still have to give it to the Bills as of right now. I think the Bills are the best team. I'm going to put the Patriots at 2nd. Miami needs to take that step forward. I mean, from what we've seen out of Tua, he hasn't looked great. It's really on him. If he takes a step forward, it's going to be a lot closer for them. If he takes a step backwards, they're not really going to be a threat. And then I think the Jets are going to be a good team in the future. It's just not going to be this season. I think they're more around where like Jacksonville is. They're a team that's probably going to be on the rise, but 2021 is not going to be that year. I still think they're going to be like a 5-win team. So I'm going to say the Bills, the Patriots, the Dolphins, and then the Jets.
I will tell you one thing, though. The South is going to be good in a little while, but the AFC East in the next 2 years, I believe, in at least my opinion, is going to be the best division in football. If those 4 quarterbacks all pan out, like if they all turn out to what we think they should be, I think it's going to be the best division in football. It won't, because every other team's always going to have that team. Houston's going to be bad for a long time. Pittsburgh's about to drop off. Trust me, Pittsburgh's about to drop off. And there's always, every team's got a bad team. The Patriots or the AFC East has an opportunity in the next 2 years, not this year, maybe not even next year, but in the next couple of years, to have 4 very strong teams battling it out. Very similar to what maybe the North should look like this year, with all 4 teams possibly being playoff teams.
Speaking of the North, where do you got those ranked?
So I got Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincy, because I think Cincy's still an offensive line away from being a really serious contender, but they're going to be a pain in the ass this year. They're not going to be an easy team to go to get around.
My ranking's exactly like Ray's. That's kind of odd. Connor?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it seems like Cleveland's going to continue to rise, and obviously they looked fantastic last season, blew Pittsburgh out in the first round of the playoffs. I think it's going to be close. I think Pittsburgh's going to digress as well. I think they're still going to have a pretty good defense, but I think for me, it's going to go the Browns, the Ravens, the Steelers. And I mean, I think that there's an opportunity if things play out right, all 3 of those teams make the playoffs. And then I see the Bengals in the same light as I've just described Jacksonville and the Jets. I think they're going to be a very good team in the near future. I think Joe Burrows is the real deal, but they still have a lot of other areas they need to improve at before I think they become a real contender.
I want to throw out something real crazy at you guys, though. And I don't even think Connor and I have discussed this. This is going to be new to him, too. So this is exclusive for your channel, Lawrence.
Nice.
I think that Cleveland is going to be the best team in the AFC this year.
Wow.
I really do. After the moves that they made this offseason,
Yeah.
OBJ coming back,
Right.
Baker showing last year that he could do things. They should have beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
When just a stupid fumble. I think they're
Right.
going to be there. To me, the Browns are going to be. They're finally the Browns that I've been saying, Lawrence, that I've been telling you this is how good this Browns team is. I think they're finally there, and I think they're going to be the best team in the AFC this year. Over the Chiefs and over the Bills. And I know that there's people going nuts right now.
Yeah.
I don't give an F. If this was my channel, I'd be dropping F bombs. I don't give an F what you think. That's my opinion. Cleveland is an old school team with a new style twist, and I think it's going to be a tough team to beat, man. It's going to be a very tough team to beat.
Cleveland has been slowly over the last 4 years building a very, very good team, solid all the way
all around. Yeah,
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Now, are they better than the Chiefs? Are they better than the Bills? I don't know. I got them ranked right there with those two teams. And speaking of the Chiefs, Bills. Chiefs in AFC West, where you got the rankings there?
Connor, you want to go first?
Yeah, for me, I mean, that's an easy one. I have the Chiefs as number one still. I don't think they're going to digress that much. They've got a better offensive line. They still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have Andy Reid. They still have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They're going to be the team to beat in the AFC. So I think they'll be fine there in the West. I think from there, the Raiders are also going to be pretty good. Although the Raiders, I feel like always mull around that 9-7, 10-6 mark where they borderline the playoffs. From there, I'm going to go the Chargers. I think Herbert's going to compete this year. I think the Chargers are going to be pretty good. And I actually think the Broncos are going to be, kind of the bottom barrel of the league.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not too high on the Broncos.
I think the Broncos took a dive last year because of injuries and stuff.
They struggled last year.
A lot of issues with that. But Ray, your opinion on the West?
Chiefs number one, obviously, and not even close in that division. Like that's one of those divisions not even close. I'm gonna maybe shock the world again, but I actually got the Broncos number two in that division, especially if Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater can compete. That's a good team. When you look at their offensive players they have, I love Noah Fant. He's a guy that I think gets forgotten about a lot. Their defense is going to be phenomenal. They still have a run game. I got the Broncos number two. I've got the Raiders number three, and I got the Chargers at number four, possibly fighting for number three because I still think they're trying to find an identity, but I think that Herbert's going to improve off of last year and keep proving Lawrence wrong over and over again because I don't get much wrong. I don't get much over Lawrence, but I got Justin Herbert over Lawrence, and I'll never let him forget that as long as him and I are speaking.
For 1 year, he's exceeded
Hall of
my
Famer.
expectations.
No, he's a Hall of
so
Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay. All right. So we got the Chiefs. We got the Browns. I think that was all the way around, right? And Bills and Colts. So all three of us agree on all four division leaders, which is surprising to me, honestly, because there are some very good teams out there in the AFC. But is there any teams that are not division leaders? Now, this is where it gets to coming in to where we're ranking the Colts in the AFC. Are there teams that are not division leaders that you feel are still better than the Indianapolis Colts this year?
Yes.
Equal to, yeah.
I think equal to, maybe better.
Yeah.
Baltimore is one of those teams.
Yeah.
I think they took a big step at the end of the year, and if they can carry that momentum, they actually have a receiving core now. Maybe they'll let Lamar Jackson throw the football a little bit. I have the Colts as the fourth best team I still have the Colts as I have the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Browns ahead of the Colts. I have the Colts as the fourth best team. So I think Baltimore could compete. I don't think, as much as I like Denver, I don't think they can compete. Maybe Miami, again, depending on Tua and how he can do it, but I still see the Colts as the fourth best team in the AFC.
Yeah, when I look at it, I kind of rank them and put different teams in different categories. I think the top three is kind of a clear cut. It's obviously going to be the Chiefs, the Bills again from last season, and probably the Browns. From there, I'm looking at teams like the Colts, the Baltimore Ravens, potentially the Tennessee Titans, potentially the Pittsburgh Steelers. I look at these teams where they have the upside, where if they play better than we're expecting, they're going to be right there. And if they play worse, obviously they're going to drop off. And I'll put the Patriots in the same category. If the Patriots excel of what we think they're going to do, I think they'll be right there with the Colts. If they don't, the Colts are going to run away with it. But I think it goes those three are the top three teams. And then from there, there's like 4 through 7 where it's going to fluctuate.
Do you have Miami in that same category?
I don't have that much faith in Miami for whatever reason.
God, so I know I get your Tua thing because I'm on the same boat as you, but the faith and stock that you're putting into Cam Newton that you won't put into Tua is just what blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. I think the Patriots are better overall, but we'll find out.
Well, now I am going back to the whole backup situation. Where we're gonna talk about this. Colts, Patriots, Miami. If the starters do not do well or get injured, which team do you have more faith in their backup?
Well, the Patriots, because their backup would be Mac Jones, right?
Right.
So that's where I see. Again, I think Eason could be serviceable. I need to see him in the NFL before I can really make an assessment. I got to see Mac Jones in the NFL before I can make an assessment on him. So I think that if they all three were to fail, I mean, I got to, like, as a Patriots fan, I have to have faith that the 15th overall pick is going to be a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be a reincarnation of Tom Brady, who just whooped Peyton Manning for all those years. No, I just wanted to play with your fans. No, but I'm not saying he's going to be a reincarnation of Tom Brady, but I think he could be decent. Whereas, who's the backup in Miami now?
I honestly don't even know. Do you guys know?
No, a guy.
But the Colts, didn't they draft a quarterback later on?
Sam Elliott.
Okay, is he supposed to be any good?
I think he's so him and wow, my brain just stopped for half a second. He's supposed to be competing for the backup, but
for the backup job. Okay,
I think they're going to go with 3 quarterbacks this year.
Yeah.
Again, though, another project, right? Yeah. It's not like these are clear-cut quarterbacks. Trust me, we got a kid named Jarrett Stidham who we had a lot of faith in, who was a project, and you
think the Colts want to trade for him?
Yeah, you guys want Jarrett Stidham?
It's like absolutely not.
Straight up for Jack Doyle.
I did a film room on him. No.
Straight up, Jarrett Stidham for Jack Doyle. Done.
Nice.
Straight up?
Done deal.
Straight up. Straight up deal. Straight up.
I would want something extra with that. And he's a quarterback, and I'd still want... And Doyle's over 30 now.
When Jarrett Stidham takes over the starting role for the Patriots this season and becomes a superstar, you're going to regret not giving up Jack Doyle for...
You're going to remember this.
If Stidham takes over the starting position and Mac Jones doesn't, then you're going to feel really bad about spending the first-round pick.
No, because you can trade Mac Jones, man. No, but you know what? Listen, if Jarrett Stidham is the starter, Connor and I are going to have to do the noble thing. If he turns out to be great, we're going to have to do the noble thing and tell everybody. We've been telling you this the whole time.
I'm going to do the noble thing.
Did we ever doubt Jarrett Stidham? We never doubted Jarrett Stidham. There was never doubt in our mind that Jarrett Stidham was going to be the quarterback of the future.
All right, so we got about 20 minutes left before an hour comes on. So it's been about 43 minutes. I want to remind everybody, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell. Also, if you want to do a super chat, I'm getting ready to take the chats right now in the live chat. If you want to do a super chat, please use that link in the description of the video. Your money comes to me a lot better. It's just straight up fact. I get twice as much rather
pay the man
rather than YouTube taking it all. So I just let you know.
Pay the guy.
I want to thank everybody who's in the chat. By the way, I got 28, which is about average, which isn't bad.
I'm seeing a lot of familiar names in here.
Oh,
Psychologic, sure. Brandon Ace.
What's up? What up,
McChicken, our source, our unpaid intern over on Dear Pats Nation. Did you make him a mod on your channel too?
I don't have any mods on my channel because I have yet to have any kind of issues with people in my chat. I have not had people spam. I got great people who watch my show, and it's probably just because I'm not that big yet.
No, it's because we learned the other night that I was told on Patreon. Well, you were there. I was told by one of our Patreons that I'm a troll. I didn't know that. Connor and I didn't know I was a troll. So we learned it. We did the research. Turns out I am a troll, but we define me as a lovable troll. So I think we kind of bring it on ourselves. But
that would make sense, I guess, right? Yep. He said it like it was a known fact. So
he did. Yeah, he did. Like he said it like we should know. He's like, oh, you met your match, and Connor and I both like, what?
All right, so I'm in the chat. Julian Poling says, "Hey Lawrence, yesterday was my birthday. Happy birthday! I don't sing the birthday song on my channel like
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. What's his name?
Julian Polings.
Hold on, sorry.
Julian Polings.
Happy birthday, Julian Polings. Happy birthday to you.
Let's go.
We got like 10 birthdays already for like the first 5 days of June we got to sing for. It's crazy.
A lot, yeah.
Right? You know, you have a couple beers one night and sing happy birthday to somebody. Now they expect it for you. And you know what? It's somebody's birthday almost every night of the week now. I think they're lying. I think they're full of it. I think they're just... Anyways, happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks. For Julian and JDW, my Patriots, Ant Rogers, Alpha Wolf, all you guys that are in here, thank you so much. Nomadic says, greetings, Earthlings.
Ant Rogers comes around us too, but he's yours, right? That
Ant Rogers, yes.
Yeah, but he comes on ours now. I recognize that name, Ant Rogers. But I don't know if he comes on ours or he just comes on when you're on. I'm not 100% sure, but I've seen that name pop up a bunch.
So Brandon Ace, who Charm City player Brandon Ace, comes on my channel occasionally. You guys know him as well.
That's my boy.
He says that I think the Colts are possibly a top 10, maybe top 8 in the AFC.
Ooh.
Top 10. I mean, they should be top 10 hands down. Any way that I can look at it and cut it, I would consider the Colts.
I just made them a top 5. So
right.
I know.
I don't see how you don't put him as at least a top 6.
A top 10. Yeah.
I have him as a top 5 in the AFC. Yeah. So I think a lot of people are underestimating the Colts, and Brandon is usually a pretty logical thinker. So I'm sure he has a reasoning behind it, even if we don't agree with it. Like he doesn't come up with sort of irrational arguments. Excuse me. But I think that there's a lot of players. I mean, listen, Connor has changed his tune because when we originally, before the schedule came out, when we originally went through opponents, him and Sarah had the Patriots had the Patriots beating the Colts. And I had like 2 vetoes and I used a veto on that game and said, you guys are nuts. I got to veto that. We're losing to the Colts. Like this team is a really good team. And I think that people don't realize how complete this team, and you got Rodrigo Blankenship. I mean, maybe you can't kick in the playoffs. I don't know, but it's but you got one of the best kickers in the game.
All right, so
right behind Nick Folk.
It's time for me to go live.
All right, Lawrence, you got to go live.
Nice.
Yes, I'm going live. My Patriots updates posted his power rankings in the live chat. He says number 1 Chiefs, number 2 Bills, then the Browns, then the Ravens, then the Patriots. Then the Colts, then the Chargers, Bengals, Dolphins, Titans. Ooh, man, he's got the Dolphins and Titans way down there. Steelers, Broncos, Raiders, Jets, Jags, Houston.
Okay.
I think that's an interesting list that he has. I think he's got some of these guys a little lower than they should and a little higher than some should, but
Connor heard the Patriots way up, so he's good with this list.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it doesn't matter. Once you get into that middle, I think it's all going to fluctuate anywhere between like 4 and 9. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the team that's ranked 9th ends up being 4th and vice versa. I think those are all going to fluctuate.
Well, he's got the Broncos and the Raiders being listed down there with the Jets, Jags, and Houston.
Yeah, that's low. We'll see what the Broncos do as well. Yeah, I think the Jets, Jags, and Houston are all going to continue to struggle a bit, but we'll see. Also, the Raiders, I feel like every year that looks like they're going to figure it out, looks like they're going to put it together, and then they end up about middle of the pack. They end up 8-8, 9-7, 7-9.
Okay, what are your thoughts on his listings there, Ray?
Yeah, I forgot them already. I'm trying to find them.
It's about a quarter way down, I think. The chat.
This is my Patriots update, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he sends us big long ones like this too. Chiefs, Bills, Browns. I mean, that's an easy 1, 2, 3. I think the Browns are first, but that's just me. I think it's Browns, Chiefs, Bills, and it could actually be Browns, Bills, Chiefs. To be honest with you,
even with the moves the Chiefs made to shore up that offensive line.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still don't think that defense is good. I still think that defense is pedestrian. I think that they figured out Patrick. I think that there's a way to figure out Patrick Mahomes the same way there was a way to figure out Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. You couldn't always do it, but those two were figured out too. But I think that if you've noticed the last 2 years, Patrick Mahomes doesn't just own the league like he did year one. You know what I mean? Like there's still a little bit of things there. That defense is pedestrian. They put all their money into offense outside of like Frank Clark, right? So no, it's and Honey Badger, right? And so no, I'm not worried about the Chiefs. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to go to the playoffs. Could they end up in the Super Bowl again? Yes, they really could because you have Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, right? So when you have the best quarterback in football, very real possibility.
Yeah.
But there's a lot wrong with that team. Where I look at a team like the Browns as a very complete team from start to finish. I don't, maybe the Ravens could compete with the Colts. Like I said, that's a team that could compete. I do not have the Patriots ahead of the Colts at all. The Chargers are a little high. The Bengals are very high. Dolphins, they could be a little bit higher or lower. Titans, Steelers, I'm fine with both those rankings at 11 and 12. Broncos, I would put them a little bit higher. I think they're an underrated team. Raiders, I'm good. Jets, Jag, Houston. Yeah, that makes sense to me. The Jags could be ahead of Houston or ahead of New York. It's either or. Houston being the worst team in football, it very well they could be the worst team in football. Do they get the pick or is it somebody else's? If they're the worst team in football this year.
All right.
I would put the Jets worst.
The Jets?
In the AFC. I'd still have the Jets as the worst team in the AFC. I think the Jaguars have an offense. Like a real legit offense. Their defense outside of Miles Jack and Josh Allen sucks. But they have CJ Henderson and they drafted another corner, but they're young and aren't proven yet, But
I have Houston as the worst team in the division in the conference.
I think Houston can be okay, but it depends upon Watson if Watson's playing or not. That's a thing. Watson's another one of those quarterbacks that if he's on the field, he can make a team good. And I think that they intentionally tanked the first 4 games last year to get rid of Bill O'Brien because you think they went 0-4. And then once Bill O'Brien's gone, they win 4 games of their last 12. So
but no Will Fuller.
Yeah.
No J.J. Watt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get that, but
probably no Deshaun Watson. Even if he can play, he doesn't want to return to Houston. So it's
possible too.
And I'm sure now he just wants to get the hell out of Houston after all of this. So
Nomadic Brian says that the Colts got low grades for the draft by most draft pundits, mostly due to not getting a left tackle like you had mentioned earlier. And He says he thinks that they actually did better than what the grades say, mainly because we outside of the left tackle, they addressed every need outside of left tackle in their opinion. I mean, we needed 2 pass rushers. They grabbed 2 pass rushers. We needed an athletic, speedy tight end. They grabbed one in the 4th round because we didn't have a 3rd round pick because of the trade for Wentz. So they also got an offensive lineman that could be a solid backup. They picked up a wide receiver, So I agree with Brian that I think the Colts should have at least got a B in most draft grades. But because of that left tackle not selecting one, that's why they got. Now, if they could regrade it now, would it be different? That's the question, right?
Grades don't mean all to me. If you go on PFF and you listen to their, read their breakdowns, forget their grades because their grades came out good, but read their analytical breakdown of the Patriots draft, they think they trash it. Listen, we deal with the media, so we don't listen to pundits. It's I mean, listen, did you guys trade up for Kwitty Paye though? That's what I got to ask you. Did you guys trade up?
No.
Oh, so you didn't want him then. You didn't actually. You didn't want him.
Yeah.
If you didn't trade up for him, you don't love him.
At 19, right before Miami picked, a pass rusher had yet to be drafted. To be drafted.
See, but if you really wanted Kwitty Paye, you would have traded up into the top 10 to get him.
Yeah, you would have drafted him at 6.
You wouldn't have sat there waiting for him to drop at you. I mean, so I don't even know why you guys are claiming him. You might as well just put him on the bench. Ballard wasn't in love with him.
Now,
welcome to the life of a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
They're saying that because that's what a lot of the Patriots media is talking about with the Mac Jones pick at 15.
Very silly, isn't it?
It is. It is ridiculous. Colts Nation says Ballard said that if they give him a bad grade in the draft, that means he did good.
Yeah, it's like when Yahoo gives you a bad grade in fantasy. You know your team's going to be good that year when they say you get a D.
Right?
Ballard also said the rivalry's back on, so I don't know how much I can listen to him, right? So.
Well, maybe.
I got to troll. Apparently I'm a troll, so I have to troll a little bit. Yeah, no, listen, Colts fans, listen. Take it from people who, we don't just get it from the local media. We get it from the effing national media. We get it from Twitter. We get it from the YouTube media.
Everywhere.
We get it from the kindergartens, the chalkboard media. Don't listen to anybody. The best analysts in the world don't know what they're talking about. There was a lot of media last year that said the Patriots were going to compete and be, it could be a Patriots Bucks Super Bowl. We all saw how that turned out. I mean, my genius partner beside me picked the Patriots to win 13 games last season. So
we're on to the Patriots Bucks Super Bowl 2021.
Yeah. So anyways, it's don't listen to the media.
So Nano505 says the Colts are going to win the division and then go deep into the playoffs. That's his prediction. He's not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. But
what is deep? Is deep like the AFC Championship game, or is deep like the divisional game?
I think deep is at least make the top 4.
Yeah, because I always hear deep into the playoffs, but like deep into the playoffs in football is that 1 win or 2 wins? What do you consider deep into the playoffs?
I think you got make the playoffs.
Yep.
And then deep in the play, because at that point, deep in the playoffs, it's either making the AFC Championship or right before them. You at least have to win a game to be deep in the playoffs, right? I mean, you have to at least win one game to be deep into it, because there's only one. Once you win one game, there's only one more game past the game that you're currently going to be playing. So
yeah,
at least on the AFC side. So yeah, I'd say if you win a game, you're deep into it.
Yeah, I don't see that as unreasonable at all. I think the Colts probably will win the division, and I wouldn't be surprised for them to win the first game at all based on what we're looking at now. So I think that they will win the division, and they have the opportunity, depending on what deep means, to make it to the playoffs. But also, there's a lot to happen between now and then, and I think once they make the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah.
All right. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. JDW Sports. Thanks for joining the stream, dude. Appreciate that. Don't forget Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator for the Titans, is now in Atlanta. So that's going to make a big impact as well. He's that guy that really kind of helped Ryan Tannehill become the Ryan Tannehill of Tennessee rather than the Ryan Tannehill of Adam Gase in Miami.
Yeah.
So that's a big jump. Week 1 against the Ravens or Seahawks. Jerry Payne mentions it. Who wins?
Ooh, that is a great question. That's going to be a heck of a game. Week 1's the craziest week because you don't know what teams are really going to be what. Remember last year the Patriots playing the Seahawks in week 2 and me thinking that Cam Newton absolutely lit it up versus them before I realized that their secondary was going to be horrendous. I think that's going to be a great game. Honestly, I think the Seahawks might win, though. I think their offense is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, the Colts to me. to be honest with you, as good as that offense is going to be. But the Jacksonville Jaguars have had one win last year, and that was week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
So anything can happen. And, and like Connor says, going back to that week 2 game, go watch our post game to that and how we're like, oh, this team's going to the Super Bowl. They should be 2-0, and then, well, you all saw the rest of the season.
Yeah, Cam Newton looked like a superstar passing out there week 2.
And that's it.
Yeah, that was it. That was the peak.
Hold on. I need to bring this up really fast. The Indianapolis Colts legitimately have, I think, the toughest first 5-game stretch in the NFL this year. They're only the third team in NFL history to open up first 5 games of the season against 10-win teams.
Ooh.
All 10-win teams. They got the Seahawks, the Rams, the Titans, the Dolphins, and the Ravens starting off 1 through 5.
That's extraordinarily tough, especially those first 2 games. That's going to be tough. The Ravens obviously is going to be a fight. All 5 of those games are going to be tough. I mean, if they can come out of that 3-2, I would consider that a massive, massive victory for them.
Well, welcome to playing that NFC South division. You know what I mean? I hope you enjoy it. We got the pleasure of that last year, so enjoy
Rams,
it.
The Seahawks.
Enjoy it this year. And San Fran blew us out last year. So have fun with that. Good luck. Look, dude, you're the second place schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the parody of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
And it's funny. It's a second place schedule, but you think about it, that means we play the Browns, which we've already established is the best team in that division. We play Tampa, which in my opinion is the best team in that division this year, with Breeze now retired, right? The Rams, well, obviously the whole Rams situation, because that whole division is freaking nasty. And then who cares who we're playing, on the NFC side? We don't play an NFC team, I don't think, or NFC East. No,
we play the NFC East.
Yeah.
So we get Dallas.
Yeah.
With a healthy Dak Prescott. We get Tampa, we get New Orleans, we get those teams. We get Buffalo twice. We get Miami twice. We avoid Kansas City finally after a long stretch of having to play Kansas City. But we get the pleasure of playing the Colts.
Right.
Who came third last year? The Ravens, right? No, the Browns. The Browns came third last season, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. We play the Ravens, not the Browns.
You play the Ravens. We play the Browns.
Yeah. Either way, I would rather play the Ravens. I'd rather play Pittsburgh rather than the Ravens or the Browns.
Well, yes, no, exactly. And you know what? And I'm on a panel, an AFC East roundtable on Wednesdays, and the Buffalo Bills fan, when I was listening to him complain about his schedule, and I was like, welcome to a first place schedule. I'm like, and you get Pittsburgh. All right, I get Cleveland in the third place schedule.
That doesn't sound right this season.
No, it doesn't at all.
Okay, so the Colts have had one primetime game a year the last 3 years, and they haven't hosted one in, I think, 5 years.
Probably versus the Patriots.
And this year, this upcoming schedule, they have 4 scheduled primetime games. One of them they're hosting. And one could legitimately be turned into a primetime game if the Patriots and the Colts, at that point of the season, since they're both coming off that bye, if they both have winning records, that could be a primetime game.
Doesn't every team get 3? Doesn't everybody get a Monday night, a Sunday night, and a Thursday?
Nope. The Colts only played in one last year, the year before, and the year before.
Sorry, I think the Patriots only have 2 primetime games this year, which is very different for us, by the way. That's a very different... Mm-hmm. I like it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's better.
No 11:30 p.m. Eastern time post games, let's... God, I like it.
All right. Well, a lot of Colts fans say that... they're a little salty about not having primetime games because that's the only way that the national media and regular everyday fans outside of Indianapolis Colts really get to watch Colts games, because you don't turn on the game and watch Colts versus Jaguars. You know what I'm saying? When
it's overrated, guys. It's overrated. You want to get harassed on Twitter day in and day out? It's overrated. It's overrated.
That's a good point.
I mean, so is winning 6 Super Bowls. It's overrated. Overrated. I'm happy that we're a mediocre team now.
Makes it easier.
Yeah.
I don't think you mean it by that standard, because you'd still want to go and win the Super Bowl. And if you win the Super Bowl, you're not a mediocre team.
No, it's overrated. Overrated. Winning the Super Bowl is overrated. 7-9 is a good record. 7-9-1. Let's tie this year, Connor. When's the last time the Patriots had a tie?
It's been a while.
All right, guys. It's been over an hour. It's been an hour, 5 minutes. I want to give a special shout-out thank you to Ray and Connor for joining me here today to give their outside opinion on the Indianapolis Colts. Much appreciated you guys being here.
Yes, sir.
Why don't Ray go first, then Connor. Tell everybody a little bit about you and where they can find you. Ray?
Connor, why don't you pitch our channel?
So come on over, find us on DPN, Dear Pats Nation, over here on YouTube. We also have the same handle on both Twitter and Instagram. I'm Connor Commentary over on Twitter. I don't do the Instagram too often. But Dear Pats Nation, every Monday and Thursday, we're live at 9 p.m. So come on over, check us out. We also have a Patreon that's actually the same thing, Patreon/Dear Pats Nation.
No, it's not. It's patreon.com/DPN Sports. Not Dear Pats Nation. So if you want to check out our Patreon, it's patreon.com/DPN Sports. And because I'm not kidding you, somebody stole Dear Pats Nation from us. So, and I think I know who it is. That's why we're DPN Sports. So someone undercut us, so we couldn't use Dear Pats Nation. So it's patreon.com/DPN Sports. You can also follow me on Twitter at DPN_Ray.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you to all of the people in the live chat. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell, and make sure that all notifications are turned on, because you know how YouTube analytics is. Sometimes you won't get the notification if it's not turned on. And until next time, have a good one.